Thank you all for coming to this community meeting. I know it's 6 p.m. Many of us have had a long work day, but we want to make the space as inclusive and accessible as possible. We have childcare here, and we know it's dinner time, so we have gluten-free, vegan, locally grown food out in the back, so please help yourself and take care of yourself. If you need to get up at any point in the meeting, walk around, feel free to take care of yourself. And before we go into the content of our meeting, I just want to let folks know that we do have translated materials and translation services. So our Spanish translator.
Hola, estoy aquí para traducir si necesito.
And then our the Chinese translator.
大家好，如果你今天晚上需要翻译，给我说一声。
Thank you. Before we begin, I would like to just briefly go over our agenda. We'll have a quick icebreaker for folks in the community to get to know one another and introduce yourselves. And before that, we will go over group norms. And then for the majority of our community meeting, we are going to envision what it is that we want to see in this parcel. And so today
I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
What's the parcel?
Oh, so it's refers to a piece of land. And so we're in the school cafeteria today. On your walk or drive over, you may have seen the vacant piece of land. So that is the topic of our discussion today, thinking about what it is our community members want to see done with this parcel or piece of land. So does anyone else have anything to add to this agenda? Okay.
So what are we talking about again?
So we're going to talk. So the objective of this meeting is to think about what it is the community wants to see done with this piece of land. So maybe it might be a community garden.
I have a question. How did you guys tell people about? Because I just found out about this tonight. So how did you guys get people there?
So we made an effort to use different delivery methods. We made an announcement at the PTA last week. We did a round of door knocking in the neighborhood. Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Uncle Jared. Right? Yeah. Uncle Jared. Good to see you. And we did some flyering in the neighborhood as well as send an email blast out to the neighborhood listserv. So we understand that not everyone might, be in on email, so we try to use different delivery methods.
We are going to have a second meeting, so be sure to tell anyone you think may not have heard about it to join us then.
And we also invited some of you who we know have already been interested in organizing for the community garden to come out here today.
Okay.
Should we jump into the idea?
Yeah.
All right, so in order to elicit all of your feedback, we're going to pass out these maps of the parcel of the piece of land that's right next door. You can just take one and pass it down. And we'd like to gather your ideas, so you can feel free to draw, write, however you would like to express what types of uses you would like to see. And we have been asked by the city to facilitate a meeting to gather community input, and we'll be sure to share what you include in your drawings and on your maps with them. I'm not sure exactly the method that we would be communicating with them. I'm not sure if it's going to be a meeting or an email or a phone call. We'll be sure to keep everyone updated. That'll be in the listserv that Sharon mentioned.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I apologize. I'll speak up. I was asked how we were going to share this information with the city, and yeah, we're good.
I'll just hang back here.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll give you all about 10-15 minutes to brainstorm on your own, get together and chat about your ideas, and then we'll have a discussion as a group. And we'll be walking around, circulating for Q&A. Any questions, comments?
Well, how would this community garden, be beneficial for me and my baby?
It's not necessarily gonna be a community garden, so whatever you think this.
It's
So this is the first of 2 meetings. I think you probably all saw on the flyers that we're gonna have 2 meetings. And so right now we're trying to collect as many ideas as possible. And then at the next meeting, we wanna talk about how can we bring those ideas together and be thinking about the welfare of the community as a whole. And so we wanna be having a discussion that involves all of the viewpoints, but also allows us to think on behalf of other people in the neighborhood, in addition to ourselves, and sort of think about, you know, what are the greatest needs at this moment for our community. So that's what we'll be focusing on next meeting. And if you have input on how we run that meeting, please do let us know.
So, it's already been, we want to be cognizant of time and that you all want to get home after such a long day. So we are going to collect all of your input, and as we've all mentioned before, there will be a second meeting coming up in the next few weeks where we'll kind of pull through together some of the main points and key themes, common themes that we see coming from all of your inputs. And then we'll come together and brainstorm concrete action steps that we can all take. So like a meeting with the city maybe, or maybe we're gonna be calling certain city officials to make these plans happen.
Did you guys talk about a goal?
Yeah, to get community input. And so I think us talking about the accessibility was so important because we wanted to have as many voices present in the room. And so I think the objective was just to see, what is it that like you would like to see?
The goal might be getting input from people about the parcel, but it's also equally always building a group that has trust and is working together and is able to you know, build campaigns and things like that. So it's also about the actual process of people feeling part of it. All of this, the popular education, I mean, we've talked about it a couple times in the day already, has to do with power. And right, there's like 2 basic kinds of power. And that kind where you're trying to create the group would be power with, and trying to build the group together and build your collective power. One of the goals of the city going into the meeting is also to maintain the power over. And one of the goals of the organizers going into is to build power with. Yeah.
Right, and to build on that, I wanted to say, this group here, when a person didn't know what something was, for instance, parcel, it was explained to them and then given a common term like vacant lot, and then they use both interchangeably. Whereas when someone didn't know on this side, they just explained what it was and kind of sarcastically or belittlingly, and then continue to use their term opposed to going back to terms that the people understood, to kind of create a sense of empowerment that, you know, they really were a part of it.
Sharon had the power as the facilitator to lead the meeting and continue on whether or not this person was hearing, but decided to step back, and that the most important thing was that everyone in the room was on the same table. And so she's gonna make sure that the Uncle Jared understands everything that's going on and can hear everything that's going on. So she's using her power to bring the whole group up to speed.